Hello, my friends. Come in, come in, sit down, take a breath. My name is Miss Carroll. I am a former career teacher, now here with you, sharing everything that I've learned on my path of healing and growth about self-acceptance, self-love, so that we can cultivate more meaningful relationships. And in this video, I want to talk about manifestation, how we can manifest the life of our dreams. Spoiler, we are already living the life that we are manifesting. It's just that we are so bound and lost in the habitual thinking and feeling of our minds, the habitual consciousness, that we are manifesting the same thing over and over and over. That's why it feels like we're not moving forward. We're not going towards the life of our dreams because we are lost in the chaos of our minds. How often do you think about your intention? Your intention behind your feelings, your intention behind your action, because this is all about focus and intention. And if you are not clear about what you are intending to get out of a situation, how you are intending to feel, you're going to be further lost on the raft of emotion and life, and it's just going to take you on a wild current, on a wild ride. Nothing is more important than the way that we feel. Nothing. Why? Because our thoughts create our feelings then create our action, and our action creates the momentum, which, if we're conscious about it or unconscious about it, creates the intention for the life that we manifest, for the life that we desire. And we get so caught up, unfortunately, in the desires and the intentions of our parents, of our children, of our profession, of all of these outside forces, all of these outside influences. What is this going to look like to this person? How is this person going to receive this? That we are further clouded and don't have the stamina, haven't built the stamina to ground ourselves in the focus that it's going to require to truly create the life of our dreams. Because honestly, once it's a thought, it's already in motion. It is already in motion. It is up to us to recognize the quote unquote signs that we are going in the right direction, not punish ourselves, not make ourselves feel guilty when we backtrack, when we make mistakes, and stay focused towards the intention of the life that we desire. There's this wonderful book that I read, where is it? Called The Sun Does Shine. And it's about this gentleman in the mid-70s living in Alabama. And he unfortunately was arrested and tried for a murder that he did not commit. He spent 30 years of his life, I believe 30 years of his life on death row, And that's not the point of this story. However, I will get back to that later. The point of the story is that while he was on death row, he created a life in his mind that helped him get through this traumatic experience. He talked about visiting the Queen of England. He talked about how he was, quote unquote, married to these celebrity women. And although the tragedy of him being incarcerated was a true tragedy and many systems failed him, he did not let that break, quote unquote, his power, break his will, the strength of his focus to accept where he was and move with intention in his mind to create a reality that would help him endeavor to eventually get out of prison and become exonerated from a crime he never commit. And that message is so powerful to me because we often underestimate the power of our minds. We often underestimate the power of our thoughts. And it's only because we are not practiced at being focused at what we are intending. And there is no clearer manifestation than the feelings that we feel. That is a clear demonstration, a clear manifestation of whether you are in line with the life that you desire, or you are just allowing your mind and your behaviors and your feelings to be led by whatever habitual consciousness that we have all been subjected to. And that, unfortunately, you could be subjected to a legal system, a healthcare system, an education system that unfortunately was not designed to bring about your optimal and the best version of yourself. So when you are grounded in your intention, you will be able to see things and differentiate things and listen to those small, still voices in you that are telling you, you know what, I should probably cross the street. Or you know what, maybe I'll stay home tonight. Or you know what, maybe I won't pick up the phone. Those little things that we might not understand, but they are always speaking to us. And we've all had those experiences happen multiple times in our lives. So from a scientific point of view, this is neuroplasticity. This is our brain's ability to change our thoughts and experiences. You know, one of the things that I did very early on in my healing journey is I would have these experiences come to mind. And rather than get lost on the train of what happened, I would replay these memories in my mind from the standpoint of the intention with which I wanted them to go. So for instance, if I had an argument with someone, or if I had an interaction with someone that I didn't necessarily feel like was of my best self, I would go into my mind and I would see it like a movie, and I would replay it as if it had happened the way that I wanted it to go. And it's so interesting how, you know, when we use our minds for the intention of creating a more just and a more positive and a more compassionate life, that is truly what we will experience out in the world. And don't take my word for it. Do it on your own. Go into the world, intend whatever intention that you are going to have, and see what happens. See what manifests. Because these things, we are so lost in the chaos of our minds that we can't recognize that these manifestations are happening so quickly, so quickly. There's evidence of them all around us. But we have to be diligent in paying attention. You know, I created a video that I will link about creating 7 proven tools that create the evidence that you are healing and growing. And I will link that in the description. We have to get out of this victimhood consciousness that why are these things happening to me? Look what you've done to me. That's a very victimhood consciousness. Instead, we need to be asking ourselves, what is it that I am thinking about you that is keeping me from who I really am? What is it that I am thinking about you that is keeping me from who I really am? That is a powerful statement. That is taking accountability. That is taking responsibility. That is taking ownership. And if you are attempting to manifest a life of your dreams, it has to start with 100% accountability, 100% responsibility for the life that you are living currently. Not what's going on, not what happened in the past, not what's yet to happen in the future, right here, right now. 100% accountability, period. There is no other way, none. But again, it's about our intention. What are we intending? How are we intending to feel? What do we want to see in the world? What do we want to experience? This is the power of journaling, why it makes it so powerful to journal and have a journaling practice regularly. Not every day if you don't need to, not even writing down if you don't want to. You can do an audio journal. You can record it into your phone. Going over what you saw today, what you ate today, who you really are. You cannot expect someone to be more curious about you than you are of yourself. Be curious about, why did I make that decision? Why am I feeling this way? Is this really the way is this the feeling that's going to bring out my most optimal growth, my most optimal healing? Be curious, stay curious, and don't be afraid to walk away. When we are so focused and so grounded in our intention to create the life that we desire, two things are going to happen. Either the universe is going to separate you from whatever person or situation or event that is not in line with that, or you are going to separate yourself. Don't be afraid to walk away. And don't have this, don't get caught up in I need to understand all of this before I can make a proper move. Just cross the street. My mom used to say all the time, when you see crazy coming, cross the street. Don't think about it. Don't rationalize it. Oh, I'm going to hurt this person's feelings. No, cross the street. Pivot and walk away from things, because we always know our bodies are always communicating to us. This isn't right. Something isn't right here. So manifestation is a really, everybody's talking about manifestation. And it's wonderful, because when I began my practice about 15 years ago, these things like mindfulness, meditation, manifestation, they were so, out of the orbit of our collective consciousness. And it's so wonderful how now these things have really come to the forefront, and we are really, seeing the power of them in our everyday real world experiences. But that's only half the story. Being aware is only half of it. That's a big part of it. But once you have that awareness, what are you going to do? It's your choice. I thank you for showing up. If you have enjoyed this video, please think about subscribing, leaving a comment. Watch this next video, and I'll see you next time, my friends.